It is a huge misunderstanding to think that a communist society means sharing wives. Xiefeng, October 13, 2011. Some people live with their heads upside down. When they look straight ahead, all they see is garbage. When they look up, all they see are people's buttocks. Those who claim that a communist society must be a wife-sharing society are exactly such people who live upside down. Is a communist society one of sharing wives? Of course not. Because in a communist society there is no marriage or family. Without marriage and family, there are no husbands or wives, so where would there be wives to share? To say that communism means sharing wives is a huge misunderstanding. It is an error based on today's human reality, on the existence of marriage and family. People assume that in a communist society husbands and wives must be shared. But what they do not realize is that in a communist society there will be no marriage and family at all, so there is no ground or soil for such a thing as sharing wives. To really understand what a communist society is, one must first become familiar with the following authors and their works. Plato, The Republic. Thomas More, Utopia. Edward Bellamy, Looking Backward. Olaf Stapledon, Last and First Men. Francis Bacon, New Atlantis. Tommaso Campanella, The City of the Sun. William Morris, News from Nowhere. Samuel Butler, Eruhan. Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. George Orwell, 1984. B.F. Skinner, Walden 2. Nikolai Chernyshevsky, What is to be Done? Henri de Saint-Simon, The New Christianity. Charles Fourier, The New World, Universal Harmony, Theory of the Four Movements. Robert Owen, Revolution in the Mind and Practice of the Human Race. Marxist Philosophy, Political Economy, and Scientific Socialism. Confucius' Description of the Great Harmony in Book of Rites, Liji, Lian. Kang Yu-wei, The Book of Great Unity. Even so, simply reading the above is far from enough to fully grasp the characteristics of a communist society. All these thinkers still wrote from within the framework of marriage and family. Even if their ideas went beyond their times, deep down they still assumed that communism would evolve from the foundation of marriage and family. Therefore, their descriptions of the ideal society are incomplete, lopsided, and lacking essential parts. The term communism was once called utopia. People dismissed utopia as an impossible dream. Some works, like those of Morris, Butler, and Huxley, were essentially anti-utopian. Yet as Oscar Wilde, the English writer, poet, playwright, and advocate of the aesthetic movement, once said, a map of the world that does not include utopia is not worth even glancing at. He often quoted the saying, we are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Those who accuse Lifechanyuan's second home of promoting sharing wives are exactly the ones living in the gutter. In the past, some people also accused the Chinese Communist Party and the Red Army of sharing wives. Ordinary villagers, hearing such rumors, imagined their own wives being taken away and so slandered, resisted, and opposed the party. But what really happened? The Communist Party never promoted sharing wives. It is true that in the history of the Soviet Union there were some extreme and brief episodes resembling wife-sharing, but those were isolated and short-lived. Can we say a whole person is a sore just because he has a small scar? To be honest, the second home established by Lifechanyuan is the very utopia people have long dreamed of, the real communist society people have been longing for. The sages of history could only imagine it, but we have turned those ideals into reality. Does the second home practice sharing wives? Absolutely not. Because there is no marriage or family in the second home, there are no husbands or wives. Once someone enters the second home, their former marriage relationship dissolves, and they begin a brand new human life. Sharing wives is a weapon used by ignorant, backward, and shameless reactionaries to stir up fear and hostility, a weapon most effective at inciting the masses and creating crisis. Especially for some half-baked intellectuals stuck in traditional ideas, the slogan of sharing wives is an easy way to arouse anger and hatred to block the path toward a more civilized society. But no matter how vulgar or malicious people may slander or insult the utopian communist society of the second home, the human pursuit of freedom and an ideal society cannot be stopped. Today's second home will become a model for all humanity. Let those living upside down in the gutter howl in despair, shouting, sharing wives, as much as they want. We will not be frightened. In the kingdom of heaven, people neither marry nor are given in marriage. In the kingdom of the greatest Creator, there are no husbands or wives. The second home is a copy of the 1,000-year world of heaven. Tomorrow, when humanity's wise men recognize and understand the second home, the whole world will rejoice and celebrate. Only those who smear the second home with the slander of sharing wives, the parasites of human civilization, will feel deeply ashamed, wanting to crawl into the ground, gnash their teeth in hell, and curse in bitterness.